So here we are again on the Labor Day weekend, one of those special times of year that is ripe with expectation, memory, and feeling. For many, it feels more like the true new year than the one that comes in January. It's a time of both promise and loss, a poignant time that weaves together beginnings and endings, and one that might evoke a certain nostalgia for seasons of the past. Seasons that may now seem like a distant dream, like Mary Oliver's memory. Once in summer in the blueberries, I fell asleep and woke when a deer stumbled against me. This year, in our new life of ever watchful vigilance, that unexpected encounter may seem even more unlikely. And yet right now we are learning so much about encountering the unexpected. Although it may seem startling or even dangerous at first, the unexpected has so much to teach us. On this Labor Day weekend that may not match our usual expectations, we may find that our spiritual growth bears fruit if we're able to be open and receptive to the unexpected gifts of life. In his recent book, Drinking from the River of Light, the poet Marc Nepo tells a story of the sculptor Auguste Rodin. As a young artist in the 1850s, Rodin worked out of a horse stable. He paid an elderly handyman to be his model because he couldn't afford anything more. He created a sculpture called The Man with the Broken Nose, which was his first great work. But then, the following winter, the back of the sculpture froze and cracked away, leaving only the front part of the face, only a mask remaining. Rodin, of course, was completely devastated. And yet, as he spent time with what still remained, with its broken nose and time-worn face, he came to feel that it held even more truth and power than his original sculpture, and so he submitted it to the Paris Salon, where it was rejected. Even so, Rodin said that the mask determined all his future work, that it was the finest piece he had ever made. Letting go of his original expectations, Rodin was able to work with the what is. As the author Marc Nepo put it, he followed what happened rather than what he intended. That willingness, in turn, shaped all his subsequent work and indeed shaped his life. As many spiritual guides teach us, clinging too tightly to expectations can prevent us from having a rich and fruitful life. This principle is illustrated very well in improv theater, where actors learn to say yes to any offer that comes their way, no matter how unwelcome or difficult it may seem. By accepting the offer of whatever life brings them with an open heart, they make space for joy and laughter. When I took part in theater sports in my 20s, I found improv very difficult, especially at the beginning. I was likely holding much too tightly for what I expected to what I was holding too tightly to what I expected in a scene, rather than simply opening up and letting life flow in whatever direction it wanted to go. More than 30 years later, though, I still remember the joy of one unexpected encounter on stage. It has continued to live in me, much like Mary Oliver's encounter with the deer. I still remember the astonishment, the sudden release of control, the surge of new energy, something that I now would call the spirit of life. In this ongoing conversation that we have with life, our expectations of others can lead us into particular difficulty. The author Thomas Moore recently taught an online course that I took on dark nights of the soul, feeling that it might resonate with people who are seeking growth during the coronavirus pandemic. He said, "From my experience as a therapist, I would say that a relationship turns into a dark night when one or both people remain fixed in their expectations. Often without realizing it, we may hold expectations in our relationships with partners, family members, friends, projecting upon them a vision of our own idealized selves, perhaps, or projecting our own shadow side that we might not expect or want to see. We also naturally hold expectations for the organizations to which we belong, the people we work with, our country, and our leaders. These hopes and expectations inspire us and bring us together in common cause. We invest our energies, our care, and our resources, imagining that they will bear a particular kind of fruit, perhaps the kind we've always had a taste for. That may lead us to judge too harshly or to reject entirely the fruits of our labor that are unexpected or unfamiliar. While these patterns can be observed at any time, they become very clear in times of stress, such as the time we've now been going through for 6 months now. We strive to understand the public health guidelines and expect that everyone will arrive at the same understanding. We work to adapt to new ways of relating to one another and are surprised when people around us have different responses. This time is requiring of us a new level of agility and resilience, which means letting go of expectations at times and cultivating openness and kindness in all our relationships with others. While some fruits may not be viable anymore, many others may be ripening. One new labor may include coming to live with more uncertainty and change than we are used to, or perhaps that we would prefer. The poet Wendell Berry wrote these words that point us in the direction of these unfamiliar fruits. It may be that when we no longer know what to do, that we have come to our real work, and that when we no longer know which way to go, that we have come to our real journey. The mind that is not baffled is not employed. The impeded stream is the one that sings. Another poet, Jean Lohman, put it another way when she spoke of the bewilderment that invites the possible. I don't know about you, but I have often not felt good about being bewildered, caught off guard, or baffled. I remember how astonished I was when I learned where Wendell Berry's words came from. It was an essay entitled Poetry and Marriage, an affirmation of the deep and rewarding growth that can take place not when one's hopeful expectations are met exactly as imagined, but instead when they are met in different ways. The limitations placed on us, whether in any relationship or when we are writing a lyric or making a sculpture, trying to shape and sustain an organization during a difficult time, or most urgently, trying to bring about necessary social change to eliminate systemic racism and to heal our planet. All of these call from us a great deal of labor. And the fruits may not at times be the ones we hope for or expect. They may take time to ripen. In fact, it may be that we may not even be able to enjoy them, though perhaps our ancestors may. I'm reminded of the passage from the Hebrew Bible in Deuteronomy, in which it is said that the promised land will be filled with all kinds of good things you did not provide, wells you did not dig, and vineyards and olive groves you did not plant. The passage goes on with the reminder to be grateful to the source of life that brought you to that place, a place not of control, but rather of amazement, gratitude, and humility. I'm reminded, too, of the Mary Oliver poem and the unexpected encounter she lived through, the fact that she was astonished, sleepy and amazed, and in her astonishment, a relationship was born that lasted her whole life. Her harvest, it turned out, was about so much more than blueberries, And even we as listeners were invited into the unknown and the unexpected as we heard a poem that turned out to be about something completely different than we thought it would be. This idea that we might learn to live beyond our expectation does not mean that we should simply accept injustice. It doesn't mean that we should shrug our shoulders in a kind of cynical acceptance of whatever, or it is what it is. Just the opposite. It's not to encourage the abandonment of our responsibility, but instead to cultivate our ability to embrace it fully. It's an invitation to be more open to the conversation with life that is calling us today, to the answer we were not expecting, to the response that bubbles up from us from a deeper place than our typical desire for control. No matter what is going on in the wider world, and no matter what our stage of life, we will build up expectations only to see them fall again and again. Perhaps that's a helpful image as this autumn-fall season begins. As the Buddhist teacher Pema Chodron wrote, most spiritual experiences begin with suffering. They begin with groundlessness. They begin when the rug has been pulled out from under us. In a very important sense, the coronavirus pandemic and the state of the world today can be seen as a collective initiation as we all experience groundlessness together, importantly, though, in different ways. Hopefully, though, together find new ways to say yes to life. Even in the unfamiliar new behaviors we're learning now, we can find symbolism for this journey. The future may be partially masked to us now. Even our sense of who we truly are may be masked to some extent. Yet in this mask and mystery, there is also an affirmation that much more is at work, that each of us is a crucial part of a much larger whole. An interdependent web that is so much greater than our own individual expectations and understandings. Our first source of wisdom in Unitarian Universalism is the direct experience of that transcending mystery and wonder that moves us to a renewal of the spirit and an openness to the forces which create and uphold life. It does not say the direct experience of transcending certainty and wonder. It suggests instead that there is something transcendent about entering into the new, of being open to the unexpected. Many people are familiar with the 7 Unitarian principles, but the 6 sources are perhaps lesser known. Right in that first source, we are called toward the openness to the forces which create and uphold life. Called into that improvisational openness, that ability to respond, that leads us to lives of personal and social responsibility. It would be wrong of me to suggest that this is easy, that we can simply make a decision to graciously receive what is and to respond creatively. At one of our drop-in groups recently, we were talking about being in conversation with life, thinking about it afterward with a particular worry on my mind. It suddenly struck me that I had been arguing with life when it came to this particular issue. An ongoing commentary of expectation had been running through my head, and nothing could get a word in edgewise. It was time for me to quiet that voice, to make space to listen without expectation. It can be said that spiritual practice, be it meditation, prayer, yoga, or something else, is a process of releasing expectations and opening up to the forces which create and uphold life. The Buddhist teacher Thich Nhat Hanh said, practicing mindfulness in each moment of our daily lives, we can cultivate our own peace. with clarity, determination, and patience, the fruits of meditation, and I would expand that to say any spiritual practice, we can sustain a life of action and become an instrument of peace. As each of us ventures forth this September into fields of new challenge and possibility, may we meet what awaits us with open hearts, saying yes to life in all its wonder and mystery.